All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Sophisticated Man podcast. I'm Tina Regano, the host. Obviously, today I have a very special guest, Mr. Diego. What's happening, man?
Good man, good. I'm excited to be here. We've talked about this podcast, and I'm just excited. Let's do it.
Yeah, man. Likewise. So I wanted to introduce Diego here for a brief second. If you guys don't know who he is, he's actually a past client of mine. So he's kind of gone through his own personal journey. Now he's on to bigger and better things. He's kind of moved along in the world. So I'll kind of let you take it from here. Kind of describe to the people who you are, what it is that you do, and yeah, what you got going on.
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, I was a bass client. Basically, how it started, so now I'm 17 years old, right? And like 2 years ago, I was like in a pretty bad spot, and that's when I started the coaching with Tino. And I just say, I was a bad spot. I don't want to get into it, but just like, you know, I won't say I wanted to kill myself, but if I would die in that period, it wouldn't have mattered. Like I wouldn't have cared. So whatever. That's kind of I didn't really enjoyed life. I didn't care about like if I died, whatever. I was like pretty down bad, like depressed. Just had like a bad home situation. I'll say it like that. And so yeah, in like an act of desperation, I just like went onto Instagram and I just like went all these like self-improvement, YouTubers, Instagrammers. I was like 15 years old. I was like in an act of desperation. I was like messaging. Oh, thank you. Welcome, G. That's my food, man. I'll just put it on side. Like, well,
In the grub.
yeah, I gotta bulk up. So yeah, in an act of desperation, I just went onto Instagram, messaged a bunch of self-improvers, and like the only one that really like responded was you. And like at the time, I was 15 years old, and I couldn't really pay for the coaching, but like Tino, like I just in an act of kindness, which I will be thankful forever, man. Like I truly appreciate that you doing that. He coached me like I think 4, 5, 6 sessions, like for 4 weeks, and I won't say I went out of the depression, but the main thing it gave me was hope. And that's such a strong thing to have,
Mm,
man. Because if you're like at that spot, like if anyone watching this and they can relate, like if you're like a down bad spot, like depressed, like kind of want to kill yourself, you tried. I tried a couple of times, but it's not like you want to kill yourself. You just want to kill something inside you, right? That's the thing with depression. You don't want to kill yourself. You want to kill something inside you. Because people who
mm.
truly want to kill themselves, they just do it, obviously. It's kind of side note. So yeah, you gave me hope, man. And you was like, you can improve yourself. You can improve your happiness. You can improve all these areas. You just gotta build it up as a man. That's just how the world works. You
Mm,
explained that to me, and I was like, shit. It gave
mm.
me hope, and I started grinding, man. Fuck, failed a shit ton of times, but you just keep going, right? You just keep going, keep trying, and eventually, man, you get out of it. And now I'm like at a good spot where I can say I'm totally not depressed. I'm actually happy to be alive every day. I'm thankful, all that stuff.
Mm.
And it's just yeah, that's kind of the journey that happened, man.
Yeah, man. I really appreciate you sharing that, man. That's awesome to hear. And I know if any guys are watching this, they're thinking, man, like I'm in a bad spot. I don't know how to get myself out of it. I feel like I'm just kind of running in circles. I feel stuck. I think we've all been there at one point, but Diego's a really good example here of someone that was in that position and got himself out of it. I'm an example of that who got themselves out of a dark place as well. So like it is possible. You can do it. You just have to be willing to put in the work and to be honest,
Absolutely.
willing to sit with that discomfort in order to really move you forward and give you that inspiration to get out of it. So I think this is a really important topic because a lot of guys maybe don't talk about this. We're kind of like not supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to talk about our mental health or kind of what's going on up here, how we're feeling. Um, I do think it is an important talking point though, because a lot of guys I don't think have that outlet. So in your opinion, Diego, just like from through your own story and your experience, like what is that journey like going through, maybe feelings of inadequacy, feelings of depression? How does that feel? And how did you really get yourself out of that?
All right, yeah, that's a good question. Like, I think people are like, I hope people watch this, they came from that are in the same position, and hopefully,
Yeah.
it helps them. So basically, you're in that position. How you feel is just, man, it's like, they say, feelings as a man doesn't matter, stoic mindset and stuff.
Mhm.
But you just, yeah, the best way to describe it truly is just like, you don't care about anything, like, not at all. Like, literally, if I would die in that period, I would not have cared. I was like, yeah, I died. It's just, it's hard to describe, man. It's just, you don't want to live, man. You truly don't, so that's that. And then, like, how you get out of it, it's a long journey, to be honest, but the main thing you gotta start off with, and just the beautiful thing is, and you can take me as an example, like, there is absolutely hope. Like, you can get out of the situation. First, I had that mindset of, you can't, and I'm just fucked forever. And I had that mindset, and that just made everything worse. But then, I called with you, and the main thing I just learned, I picked up, is like, there is hope, man. Like, you can. It's absolutely possible. Like, you can get out of it. You can have that hope, not like hope, but just that, don't believe, man, that you can get out of it, because you absolutely can. All right. So you start off with that. And then from there, you can just, you do your research about mental health. We can talk about mental health if you want, if you want to go on the side rant, we can do that.
Mhm.
But, you start doing your research, how to improve as a man. You can watch some YouTubers like the sophisticated man, Tino Regano. You can watch that, So there's just the main thing that gets you out of that, like, really depressed state, is knowing that you can get out of it. And then if you know how to get out of it, if you're like, you've done your research, you found like meditation, reading, you found the gym, you're like, yeah, all right, I can get out of it. And the main thing I struggled with after that was, the discipline, obviously, because I've never done it in my life, and now I gotta do things, regularly. And you'll notice when you do those things, your life gets better. Your mental health gets better. Everything just gets better. Your social skills, everything. But then you start to slack off, and you start to, I don't know, get back into bad habits. You research the good habits, the bad habits. You start, I don't know, jerking off to porn, video games, whatever. And then, you start slacking off. You got to learn the discipline. And oh shit, I got to stop punching my desk. So,
Very good.
yeah, man, just like at the start, just have hope, basically. Have hope and do some research. If you want, we can like speak about mental health right now, if you're down, like about how to improve mental health.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right,
no, I
cool.
mean that's kind of the next thing I was going to ask about was that exact process, but I wanted to touch on what you said real quick about like literally doing things that get yourself out of it. You mentioned going to the gym,
Mhm.
meditating, like doing something. I think the
All
problem
right.
that a lot of people have, especially guys, is maybe they get in that depressed state or they feel down and they don't do much. They kind of wallow in that and they let it kind of get worse and worse and they
Mhm.
just sit there. So I think there's a big, big connection between, actually moving and like not just physically moving your body, but actually doing something, as in, I'm trying to work towards a goal or I'm trying to improve this area in my life. I think when you do that, you find the depression, maybe I'm not saying it completely goes away, but you definitely improve the quality of your life and the way that you feel about yourself. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I think that's such a piece of um mental health that isn't talked about. It's like, yeah, it's easy to think better thoughts, but that doesn't really do much unless you start taking action on something. So just wanted
Mhm.
to throw that out there to anybody watching. But yeah, I think so about that. Yeah, like the question around that is, do you think that that's accurate for you? Like, did that happen in your experience? And yeah, we can kind of get into just like the things that you've learned about mental health and specifically men's mental health.
All right. Yeah. So, so you started off by asking the question, what can you do? And what I've noticed, like, I've coached other people as well. And what I've noticed is, like, most people know what to do.
Yeah.
Most people, they know what to do. They just don't do it. All right.
Mm,
So I'll start off saying you how to do the hard work. Not what it is, but how to do it. basically you can do progressive overload in the gym where you just
Mm-hmm.
like start off maybe one set and then two sets, three sets, and you build up, you get stronger over time. Well, the same you can do with your good habits. If you know what you got to do, and you're like, I don't know, can't build a discipline, you just start, you build it up, right? You just go to the gym for 10 minutes, and then tomorrow you do 20 minutes, and then fuck, do 30 minutes a day after that. Same with meditation, same with whatever. You just, man, journaling, you could just journal one sentence.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you build that, and you'll fail a couple of times, but just embrace, because that's honestly the process. I think, I mean, in your case, it's probably as well, when you try to do good habits, you fail a couple of times. Like, it's hard to stick to it, but just what I've noticed over the last 2 years is discipline is like a muscle. Like, you can actually like improve your core, like strength discipline, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Like, doing the hard work, maybe the quote from Hamza. I don't know if you know Hamza. Do the
Mm-hmm.
hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Like, that's an action. Like, that sentence is like a skill you can build.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's how you do the work. And then what to do, like, most people know what to do, but if this is like the first podcast on self-improvement you ever saw in your life, then like basically what you can do is like meditation, journaling, quitting bad habits. Like, that's the main thing that helped me with my mental health, was like quitting. Like, if you're not using Instagram as a platform to inspire or to whatever, then don't use it. Like, don't consume its content, because it truly has an effect on your mental health. I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example. Like, I remember there was a period, I don't like Instagram and stuff and YouTube, like, because it fucks up your mind and your dopamines and just your thought process.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Even if you watch like a couple self improvement, just don't watch self improvement. Like, it's addicting. It can get addicting as well, and that I
Yeah.
noticed in my first year, like, it gets pretty addicting. Um, so yeah, I don't really like these platforms, because they truly, like, they fuck up your dopamine systems, man.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so quitting bad habits, and what I've noticed is, what I wanted to say was, if you quit that, man, like, life just feels different, to be honest.
Yeah.
Quitting bad habits like video games, it's like, because the thing is, if you play video games and you watch porn and you do all that shit, and then the most dopamine you have in a day is watching porn or
Mm-hmm.
playing video games. So that becomes your standard for dopamine. But if you don't do
Mm.
those things, and the biggest standard of dopamine you get is like talking to a friend, like that's it for me, man. Like, yesterday I was just calling with a friend, bro. Man, it was better than playing video games, porn, whatever, just because I
Mm.
don't have any like dopamine, so to speak. Don't any,
Mm-hmm.
bro. Eating food, most people just eat food. They're like, bro, I can eat plain food and I'll enjoy the fuck out of it, just because that's
Mm.
my dopamine levels are so low. So
Mm-hmm.
that's that. So quitting bad habits. You can do meditation as well. Some physical activity doesn't have to be gym. You can also do whatever you love. Me personally is martial arts. You can journal, gratitude journal, introspective journaling. You can go into different things of journaling. You got like introspective, gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Day to day, like what happened today type of journaling. Um, reading like religion as well. That's
Mm-hmm.
the thing. Like, that's like more for advanced like mental health. I won't focus on that in the begin, but like once you get good and you're pretty happy out of the depression, you can
Mm-hmm.
check out the book, man, because you don't have to believe necessarily, but I read it, and it just, man, the shit you learn is like a self-improvement book with everything you'll ever want. Like, it's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot about life and stuff you can learn and implement. Um, but yeah, I think I've been ranting for long enough now, man.
No,
I'll leave.
those are really, really good things that you mentioned. Like with the reading, with journaling, with meditating, exercise. I mean, you named a whole list of them. I think all those things are really great to get into. Um, I usually have those as a foundational piece for self-improvement. I think you need to start with a lot of those things and kind of branch out from there. Like, obviously people think, well, just making money, starting a business, doing this and that. That stuff is great, but it comes a lot after you like really keep that foundation solidified. Then you can
True.
stack things on top of that. So I think what you're describing a lot of it is just kind of like what you should do like internally as a man, like to have yourself
Mm-hmm.
feel fulfilled, have yourself feel um happy really with your life.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that needs to be there first. And you mentioned something really interesting that I 100% I agree with the dopamine, because that's something that I think is just like overstimulated today in society. Like it's kind of a catch 22 because, or a double-edged sword because of social media. Like it's a lot of negative that's come with it, but at the same time, there's a lot of positives. Like even this call, for example, like
Yeah,
we wouldn't be
exactly.
having this if there wasn't
Mm-hmm.
advances in technology and the fact that we are where we are. So there's a lot of good to come from it, but at the same time, there is a lot of bad that you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Comparing yourself, maybe looking at different negative pieces of content that make you feel
Yeah.
worse about yourself. There's a lot of stuff out there like that. Um, but what you mentioned about that standard dopamine level, that's very true that people don't even really like think about is if
Yeah,
you
nobody.
always
Yeah.
flood yourself with social media, video games, all that kind of stuff, well then you're setting a precedent that that is your normal. That is where everything stays and that's where it lies. And if you don't do it on those days, you don't feel as good about yourself or you maybe feel like there's something missing. So there is a lot of like training that you need to do to really train your dopamine levels to spike on good things like journaling, reading, going for a walk, exercising, eating good foods. Um, I had a friend of mine who's another content creator. He always says to earn your dopamine. And I love that
Oh,
because like instead of just giving yourself all this free dopamine and that
yeah.
instant
Mm-hmm.
gratification, like do something hard first.
Yeah.
Like I don't care
To
if it's
earn it.
50
Yeah, I like
push-ups
that.
or going for
Mm-hmm.
a 2 minute walk, like earn
Mm-hmm.
the right to do something, to give you dopamine because there's everything gives you dopamine at this point. Like everything's kind of pleasure.
Yeah.
So you
Everything
have
on
to
the
kind of
phone, right?
create
Yeah.
boundaries around that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. True. Everything on the phone, man, like it's all the like scientists and people behind it to make it as addictive and
Yeah.
dopamine. Oh, it's crazy,
Hmm.
man. Crazy. Ugh. So yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, man. Well said. True facts.
Hmm. Yeah, because they know what they're doing. I mean, they know it's
Yeah.
addicting, and
Mm.
there's even with marketing, you can see it in like everyday marketing with just like commercials, ads that you get on your phone,
Yeah.
ads that you get on
True.
TV, like
Marketing. Yeah.
whatever. They make it as engaging as possible because at the end of the day, your attention is currency. That's the most
Mm-hmm.
valuable form of
True.
currency now is your
Mm-hmm.
attention. So these brands, these corporations are trying to grab your attention. So just like a big thing that I try to advocate on my channel is guys being intentional with their attention. So make sure you know where you're spending a lot of that time because if you're not being deliberate with that, it's being controlled by something. Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody's getting your attention unless if you're not completely, in control of that.
Maar kan je dat wel brengen, alsjeblieft? Ja, maar eigenlijk. Ja, ja, dat is goed, dat is goed. Ja. Wat is ja? Sorry. Geen probleem. Grandma gotta help out with the bulk.
I hear you, man. I hear you, bro.
um,
Supporting you.
yeah, man, to make it as addictive as possible, scientists behind it, like
Hmm.
crazy shit, and honestly, truly terrifying.
Hmm.
Um, what I like to say to people is if you don't use Instagram for any like purpose, you're just like
Hmm.
on it, you chatting or whatever. And
Right.
like you can chat through SMS as well. Like
Hmm.
don't use Instagram then because you will go onto those reels. Like
Oh yeah.
another thing with discipline is, the one day, you can have like high testosterone, whatever, you can have laser focus, discipline. Maybe the other day you didn't sleep right, you didn't eat, you didn't do whatever. Your workout wasn't as good, your discipline is low, maybe something happened. Like
Hmm.
you'll check out a reel or two, and then you got that finger scrolling, right? And then they just keep you scrolling. It's truly ugh. So yeah,
Hmm.
I like to say to people, if you don't use Insta for a purpose, just don't use it. Just say to people, you can reach me through this other app. Same with YouTube as well. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think discipline is something that even when you don't feel like you're having a good day or you don't feel quite like you're
Still have to do it, right?
motivated or whatever, like you still have to
Yeah.
do it. You still have to do it. And there's a quote that says like I think maybe Andrew Tate said this, but he's like, the guy who goes to the gym every day,
Mm,
regardless of how he feels, is always going to
and
win over the guy that goes when he just feels, maybe today's a good day to work out. You're going to
yeah.
win if you go regardless of how you feel, because you know that the mission, the objective, is more important than your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And some might misinterpret that and think, oh, well, then just like ignore your feelings, like, is that bury it down and dig it deep. So that's not really what we're saying. Because I think that like we just talking about mental health and like getting in a good place,
Feeling.
but I
Yeah.
truly think, and I'd love to hear what you think about this. I truly think that by doing that, by like building discipline, doing things, even when you don't feel like it, you might not be in the
Mm-hmm.
moment, that will get you out of that bad mental space and make you actually feel better because you can look back and say, okay, well, it was still raining outside, but I went for sprints anyway. I did what I had to do. And that
Mm-hmm.
gives you a level of confidence, a level of accomplishment, especially as a man. You feel like, damn, I can do this. So that I
Mm-hmm.
think gives you hope. So I'd love to hear your take on that. If you do you think
I
that
mean,
that's
yeah.
kind of how that works?
I mean, scientifically, literally, it is like
Yeah.
you literally scientifically feel better if you do stuff you don't feel like doing.
Hmm.
It's the instant and the delayed gratification. If I'm eating some chocolate or I'm jacking off the porn, that's stuff that makes me feel good at the moment, like
Hmm.
immediately. And scientifically they show with graphs and stuff. They
Hmm.
measure the dopamine levels, and you can see, yeah,
Yep.
at the moment you get a huge spike, but basically after it goes under what it originally was. You understand? So
Hmm.
you have that peak, and then it'll drop because you're jacking off. I know you came, whatever, it's done, mission over, and now it's like under the original. So and
Hmm.
then people, and this is the addictive cycle, right? And now it's under what it originally was. So people are like, shit, I'm now more depressed. I want to go back to that original state. So what will they do? Instant dopamine. Oh, they're at the original state again. Oh wow, yay. But now the moment they stop, bam, it's down again. And they want to
Hmm.
just keep going back to that original state, but it just keeps getting worse. And then with delayed gratification, what Andrew Tate like says you gotta do, like I don't understand why they put this man in jail. It's well, whatever. Um,
Free
you
Top
know,
G.
straight up. And then with the delayed gratification, like you said, like maybe your baseline is here. Oh, God damn this camera, man. Fast reflexes though. So maybe your original like level is here, but then you don't feel like doing it, but you do it anyway. So like at the moment you'll feel like shit. You don't feel like doing it, you're doing it. It'll go under the baseline. But the moment you stop, you're finished with whatever you're doing. You did your 100 push-ups, you did your I don't know, your whatever you did, like you did your work for school or whatever. Then after that, you'll go up, above the baseline. And if you just consistently can do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it, I love that sentence. And
Hmm.
just keep going up, and you just, that's how you improve your mental health, so to speak.
Hmm.
Just basically doing the good habits, and the good habits, feel like shit at the moment. You don't want to do them, but after it, you'll feel better.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I think
basically,
what
like,
you're go
oh
ahead.
yeah, sorry for interrupting. And basically, like, after a while of doing that, you get to a point where if it you have to do something hard, and you've been building up, 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 and now you're like really up, right? Let's like imagine the graph just goes up, and you're like at a high point, and you got to do something hard. Man, if it goes down, you're still as happy, bro. Like
Yeah.
you're doing hard work, but you're happy because you're just so far up the graph where it goes down. You're not even depressed when it goes down. It has to
Mm.
go down like by 2 miles or something.
Mm.
So when you do the hard work, it feels like shit at the moment, but you're actually still happy doing it. And then, it keeps going up and whatever. So it actually
Mm.
gets easier down the road. And
Hmm.
that's something that gives hope as well to the people, who are depressed, who are like at my situation when I was 15. Man, horrible social skills, no confidence. Like, I just wanted to kill myself, bro. Like, and just bad habits but that's like what caused the depression. I had a bad home situation, yeah, but also like the fact where you just keep doing the instant dopamine, right? And at a point you'll just get so low, man. It's just, yeah. And then you just
Hmm.
got to do the work, but then it's like extra hard to do it because now you got to do the delay gratification, which goes down first. And that was like really hard. It just gets easier down the road. And now like I can go to the gym for 2, 3 hours, train to failure at each set, and man, I'll have no issues doing that like quad discipline. It just stays the same. Like it's easy for me, you know?
Mm, yeah. Yeah, you give yourself a new standard for dopamine. I like how you describe that because it's really that's how it works. I mean, you get used to the pleasure seeking stuff so much, the instant gratification so much that the second you don't have that, you feel like a drop off and you feel a lot worse about yourself. Um, I've always said too, like, don't sacrifice the short-term pleasure for the long-term gain because a lot
Yeah.
of people live the
Nice.
opposite. They just want to do short-term, but then in the long term they suffer. Meanwhile, you should be focusing on the long term. In the short term, you're suffering, so you can get the long term, you can call it pleasure, but I call it just fulfillment, like long term, just happiness, because that is what's going to create
Mhm.
a better balance in your life, I think, is to do the hard
Absolutely.
stuff first, do just uncomfortable things first, then you get a lot of benefit, the reward from that, the payoff. Um, and I can literally speak to that exact thing. Like I remember not even too long ago, maybe a month or so ago during the holidays, um,
Mhm.
things were getting kind of busy, obviously how it is with family, with relatives getting together. We had a bunch of food. I was eating like crap. I wasn't really exercising as much as I wanted to. So I was kind of just like sitting around most of the day. And I remember one night, me and my brother were watching a movie, and I felt like kind of just, I wouldn't say depressed, but just like down, like not
Mhm.
super inspired, not super like energetic. And he literally like I'm grateful that we did this, but he
Mhm.
told me, he's like, all right, let's do 100 push-ups right now. And like I was like, nah, I don't really know. I'm not really feeling it. And then that inner bitch voice comes up because you just don't
Yeah,
want to
I
do
know,
it. So
bitch.
I was like, all right, screw it. Let's just do it. And then we get down, we do 100 push-ups, and then there was like a point where I didn't want to do it. So like I was still fighting myself as I was doing these push-ups. But then like by the end of it, we got all the reps in. I was like, I stood up. I was like, wow. I was like, I
Like
feel
you
a
feel
hundred
better.
percent better. Like
Yeah.
not even close. Like I literally 10 seconds ago was feeling like
Mhm.
like absolute trash shit. Then I did those
Mhm.
push-ups, and then I immediately felt like a different person. It's actually pretty remarkable how that works.
Yeah. That's basically just the dopamine, man.
Yeah.
And like people will argue with me and they'll say, it's no problem, with the instant dopamine. I'll say this to like people who don't do self-improvement because I love to talk with people who live
Mm-hmm.
completely different, right? Because you
Yeah,
just see things different and then, you
for
learn.
sure.
And then they're speaking, the instant dopamine, it's not that bad, blah, 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 blah. It's all in your mind. And I'm like, all right. But literally, each, like biologically speaking, each living plant, animal, man, mountains, I don't give a fuck. Like everything wants to improve and get better.
Mm-hmm.
Like a baby cow wants to grow and become a strong cow that can fucking eat tons of grass. Like
Yeah.
a bull, the same thing. Like a tiger, the same thing. A human, the same fucking thing, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
biologically speaking, like your ancestor brain, like you want to improve, you want to get stronger, you want to get richer, you want to get better socially, you want to get more confidence, blah 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 blah. You want all this stuff, but the instant dopamine and how the world works, and the matrix society, whatever you want to call it, it brainwashes you into consuming, and the instant dopamine. Oh, buy this chocolate bar and consume, or oh, this latest
Yeah.
sneakers, you gotta have them.
Mm.
you know and it just tricks and brainwashes you, and they're really good at that. They did it on purpose, just to keep people weak and docile, because if everybody had the mindset like you and me had, where we want to improve, like we're looking constantly like, how can I improve in this, improve in that, man, you got people like climbing up the ranks, becoming richer,
Mm-hmm.
and the politics as well. They're getting into politics, and they're scared to lose their power, so they're trying to keep
Mm-hmm.
everybody weak, you know but yeah, like you said, man, yeah.
Yeah,
Outside
dude.
the dopamine, man, like you do your push-ups after, you just feel good, man. It's because you want to improve. You don't want to be sitting like biologically speaking, you do not want to sit on the couch like watching a
Mm-hmm.
movie, eating chips. You don't want that.
Yeah.
Like your brain doesn't want that. It's your brainwashed part of the brain that says, "Oh no, you should do it because everyone else do it, and in the movies they do it, and there they do it, and everybody else does it. So I'm gonna do it as well." Like
Hmm.
and that's how they brainwash you, man. But you want to improve, man. You don't want to sit on the couch watching a movie. Fuck that movie, bro. Who gives a shit about that movie? You'll forget about that movie in a year. Go make some money, do some push-ups.
I mean, dude, it's very you're right. That's very true. Because like you're designed to want to improve. You're designed to want to get better. Because like it's the saying, like if you're not growing, we're dying. There's really no
Yeah,
alternative. Like
nice said that one.
we're trying to get better. We're trying to like make our
Mm-hmm.
lives better. I think everybody naturally has that desire, that craving. Um, it predates even our own history, like going back in the early parts of civilization. You look at cavemen and like them, for example. I mean, what was their main goal in life is to survive, to live,
Yeah,
to keep going.
yeah.
So there's still that piece of us
Improve.
that feels that way and wanting to
Mm-hmm.
level up our lives and like you said, socially, um, status wise, like
Mm-hmm.
financially, in every single way, there's still that drive there. And I think for men, that's very, very strong
Yeah,
in men.
for
Like
men.
men, like because of
Yeah.
testosterone, because of
Mm-hmm.
masculine energy, like
We're built that
we
way.
we're built that we're wired that way to achieve and want to
Yeah.
win, be competitive. And I think a lot of the things out there are more or less kind of shaming that in men. Like they're telling us, hey, you don't have to be competitive. Like it's okay. Like you can be in touch with your emotions. You don't have to be aggressive, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of that stuff now. It's kind of labeled toxically masculine if you do these
Yeah.
things,
I hate it so much, man. I
which
hate that shit so much.
is crazy. I know. I'm not really a fan of it either. I think honestly that if you really look at those things, like you say,
They
for
got
example, aggression.
the peop- yeah, the people at the top gotta do it just so you stay weak. They gotta
Yeah.
they gotta say, "Oh no, that's toxic masculinity." Oh, going to the gym, toxic. Like, bitch, what the fuck?
Yeah. There's
Improving your mental health as a man. Well, I should do that.
yeah.
And use more Pornhub. Get back onto Instagram Reels, brainwashed all day watching some fucking content. No, go watch the news again. Go watch the news because we're telling the truth in the news. We're telling you what you should think. And so, like, bro, shut the fuck up, man. Shut up. But
Yeah.
they gotta do it. If I was on the top, I would do the same probably. No, I wouldn't. I don't think I would. I don't know. That's a different question. That's a side rant. Um, but yeah, that's just how society works, man. And
Mm,
once you realize it, you just work around it, right? You're like, fuck you,
yeah.
I don't. Everything watching the news, basically just believe the opposite,
Mm,
and you'll
pretty
get
much.
more truth out of the news. Yeah,
Yeah, you definitely have to adapt, I think. Like you have to be first you have to be aware of what's happening. I think
yeah,
that's like the first step. Just
exactly.
know what's going on. And then from there, like you can adjust and adapt and move forward. Like I'm
Mhm.
not a big fan of like fear mongering people. Like I know that that's what the news does. That's what the media tries to do is get you scared and keep you afraid.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I just want to
yeah.
tell you the truth and tell you what's happening. So now we can do something about it. We can move forward. We don't have to sit
Hmm.
there and just stay stagnant. Um, but I think what I was getting at with the aggression, with the violence, because all these things, if you Google it and you type, I literally Googled this one day. I was like, "What's toxically masculine traits? Like, what does that even mean?" Right? And all these things, like leadership, it said aggression,
Yeah,
violence, um,
yeah.
all these different things, and I'm like,
Like pursuing goals
"Wow,
and discipline as well. Like it's stupid, man.
discipline." Yeah,
I
stoicism was
remember.
another one. I was like, if you
Yeah.
really break these things down, um, and I've said this before too, violence, aggression, stoicism, all of
Hmm.
these things by themselves, they're not good or bad. Like I'm not saying that there's like we just put labels on them because of
Yeah.
how they're applied. Like if I'm violent against, you know, uh a criminal who's trying to attack myself or a girlfriend, for example, like
Yeah.
that's a good way of using violence because
Hmm.
men are generally designed to be more disagreeable and not confrontational, but better at dealing with conflict. So
Hmm.
that competition is good. Like we want that, we need that.
Hmm.
So there is
100.
like there is a little subtle context to all those things that are typically labeled as toxically masculine.
Yeah. Yeah, the toxic masculinity, bro. Man, and the classroom.
Yeah.
When we
That's another
talk
one.
about agitate, bro, all hell breaks loose, man. When
Dude.
I start talking, bro, all hell breaks loose. What? What? You agree with that, man? What? What? Women should not work? What? What if she wants to work? I'm like, bro, if she wants to work, you can work, whatever, do whatever, but
Mm.
you don't have to work. I will go win the bread. I'll put money, but now I gotta work and because like it even says it in the Bible, man. I love how it says it in the Bible. How it says, I know people can correct me, but if I remember right, how it says is so I don't know in English if the names are the same. I think it is like Adam and Eve.
Yeah, Adam and Eve, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like they ate of the tree of wisdom. They got punished, and the punishment for Eve was she had to be submissive, to the man, submissiveness, and the
Mm-hmm.
punishment for the man was like hard work. You know, you gotta have to put the bread on the table and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why don't we go back to that? Why did we change that in the last 100 years? Oh, excuse me. And I then said to my like, it's a history teacher. We're having this conversation, right? And it's history teacher, and he's like, yeah, but the last 100 years, you can't compare with the thousands of years, before 100 years ago. You can't do that, Diego. That's the past. I'm like, bro, you're a history teacher.
It's his, yeah, it's
You're
history.
contradicting yourself.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, the last 100 years are completely different. I'm like, exactly. That now society is fucked the last 100 years. I'm born in the wrong generation. Like, get me out of here. I'm like, it always functioned for thousands of years. It functions.
Thousands.
Man worked, man went to the army, died, whatever. Man worked on the land. Like, yeah, women
Mm-hmm.
also worked on the land, but they didn't do it 24/7. Like, they had to look for the kids as well, make some food.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it always worked in society, man. Always, always. And now, like,
Yeah.
last 100 years, now when I say these things, like, literally in school, bro, a random kid in my class just called me a women hater. I'm like, bro,
Of
what?
course.
From like any kid, yeah. But, and he's like, yeah, you hate women. I'm like, what the fuck? No, I love women. Bro, I love women so much. I do not want my woman to work. Like later when I get rich, like not now. I'm not looking for a girlfriend. I'm not interested in that. I just want to grind now. Make myself a man, get rich, blah blah blah. And then when I'm at that stage, bro, if I got a woman, I would want you to not work. I don't want you to have that suffering.
Yeah.
Just stay at home, enjoy your life, like make
Yeah.
me a kid and enjoy life.
Mm-hmm.
Just like that, and
Mm-hmm.
people say that I'm bad for that, and it's just how can you be bad? I just want a woman who's just loyal, loves me, what's up. Fucking, you don't have to work. Just stay home, enjoy life. You like painting, you paint all day. I don't give a fuck. Like you like to sing all day. I don't care. Like do
Yeah.
whatever you love in life, and I'll just go and work. But for us men, like that's how we're built, and that's how we enjoy life most. If we
Mm-hmm.
can like, work hard, and so that's how the system, how spiritually and whatever it works. Like we work hard, we come home, the woman, she cooks some dinner. When I said it in class, man, I like, you cook some dinner. What? You misogynist? Men can cook as well. Like, man, what the fuck?
When
Like,
was
yeah,
that a
sure, man.
crime for a woman to cook her husband a
Wow,
meal?
man. Like, you don't even have to work. Like, I'm just asking to cook me one meal in the evening. It's too much. Bro,
Oh
whatever.
God.
Yeah, man. So, and they're like, oh, now you're saying you hate women because now you're saying women have to cook and that's all women are good for. And I'm like, oh, you can just see how,
What?
like, how I'll use brainwash. I'll use that word because
Yeah.
how they're brainwashed and like thinking that men and women are equal. When I said men and women are not equal, we are like, like value
Yeah.
wise, I could say we're equal. We do the hard work and you can produce life. I mean, in some way you can even say women are more valued than men, because they can
In
build,
certain
they can,
ways.
and then not build, but they can make life. Without
Mm-hmm.
women you don't have society. But if
Right.
you say like 90 men and one woman, bro, society is fucked, right? But if you have one man and like 90 women, so the value, like women are much more valuable, right?
That's kind of true.
So
Yeah.
they can create life. That's
Mm-hmm.
why men went to war and just died and nobody gave the fuck, how it worked, back in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of on the side rant here. So yeah. you know, and but they do it on purpose. And I'll go on the side rant because like nobody knows this, right? When I say to them, they're like, "What, you? I never heard that before." And I'll
Mm-hmm.
say it so people can learn about this. Is they do these things intentionally, like
Yeah.
men versus women,
Mm-hmm.
white versus black.
Right.
You know, here in Belgium, we got like Belgium versus the people from outside other countries. You know, da, da, da. You
Mm-hmm.
got your race, LGBTQ. Oh, you're gay, you're not gay. Oh, you hate gay people. Oh, I'm a transsexual. Oh, you hate trans. Like just and the thing is, and Julius Caesar, the great emperor of Rome, he said, and I quote in English, I think you say it. I think separate and rule. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you say it, but basically,
Yeah.
you
Divide and
just
conquer.
create, yeah, divide and conquer. Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And you just create divideness, right? And that's, bro, racism, bro. Who the fuck, bro? Nobody can like wow, this just all made up shit. So we would fight with each other. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're fighting, you're talking, oh, you're a black man, you're a racist, you're gay, you're not gay. I hate transsexual people. Oh, fuck you. You hate trans. You're just busy with each other. And then, the
Yeah.
emperor or the people who rule can just do whatever, man. They can say,
Yep.
yeah, yeah, stay at home for COVID. Every day you can't go outside. If you go outside, you'll have to pay. You have no freedom. You can't do anything anymore. And people are like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. And you have to put on a mask as well. Yeah, yeah, I do that. Like little white sheep do. Oh yeah, I gotta do that. Oh yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. Don't even think about it. I was like, bro, fuck that. Everybody like getting the vaccine. Oh, no, oh, I gotta do the vaccine. Otherwise, I don't have freedom. Yeah, sure. Like
Yep.
how we like imagine a strong society. I'm going on a rant right here, but I'll okay,
It's
I'm
good,
sorry for
man.
that. But like imagine a strong society. And they said to that strong society, yeah, you have to put this in your body. You don't even know what's in the tube. They say, yeah, it's a vaccine. You don't know. Nah, you don't.
Yeah.
You can't look into it. They're just putting some shit in your arm. And our weak society will say, yeah, yeah, I'll do it, I'll do it. Oh, you'll take my freedom away if I don't do it? Because that's how it was in my country. If you didn't do it, you couldn't do anything. You just
Mm.
had to stay at home. You couldn't go to the shop. You couldn't go partying, whatever. You had to take it if you wanted to do those things. I didn't do it. I was like, fuck
Jeez.
you. I'll stay at home. I'll train. Fuck you. I won't
Yeah.
take this vaccine. So people took it, and if you have a strong society, they say, "What? You'll take away my freedom if I don't do this? Well, fuck you. You won't take away my freedom." And they start protesting. I don't want to take this vaccine. You'll take away my freedom. Blah 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 blah. You can't do that. They start protesting. But because we're so weak as a society, everybody was just nodding yes. There was maybe like 20% saying no, but 80% was just nodding yes. Oh, you want me to take it? Yeah, sure, I'll take it. I won't
Mm.
even use brain cells doing it. And they just do that. So yeah, I'll stop ranting now. I'll let you speak.
No, dude, I mean, I definitely can. I can definitely agree with a lot of that. I here in America, I know we live in different places. It was
Mhm.
pretty wild for a minute there. Back especially back in 2020 when like all this crap started. There was a lot of restrictions. I'm not gonna get too much into it because I don't want to get like taken down or some weird stuff. Some weird stuff happened to the channel, but you kind of
Yeah.
know what's you kind of understand what was going
Yeah.
on. Um, and I think it's funny because a lot of that stuff, we can say those are problems in society, like issues with, whether it's not, I wouldn't say poverty, but issues with like that, issues with freedom, issues with, you know,
Yeah.
getting sick and all this kind of stuff. If we were completely stripped of everything, like I call those first world problems. And I call those first world problems because in
Mm.
a privileged, comfortable society, we are afforded the luxuries of complaining about things that simply aren't really that much of
Mm.
a problem. Like the issue around toxic, like to bring it back to the toxically masculine and all that kind of stuff and feminism and the way things are and all these different things. If you were to like put people on an island, men and women on an island with no phones, no technology, nothing, I mean,
Man.
we're going to revert back to our natural gender roles. That's
Mm.
just how it works.
Bro,
There's
that stuff will be through the roof, man. Like
men
those
are,
men will be
dude,
fucking
literally men are
for
going
women.
to be building shelter. They're going to
Yeah,
be hunting. They're going to be
exactly.
catching fish. They're going to be building thing. Women are going to be caretaking. They're going to be making sure the house
Yeah.
is good. They're going to make sure their men are well
Yeah,
fed and trained. Like,
you won't see any women like starting hunting or some bullshit like that. Like, oh, gender equalism,
yeah,
women can do it too. Like, you won't see
yeah,
that on the island, bro.
you
But
wouldn't.
yeah, exactly. Man. Yeah, continue.
There was a study too. I think this was like a study in I think it was Switzerland. I have to do I'll have to do some more research around it. I think it was in Switzerland. There was a study that said there was a group of men and a group of women. They were completely unbiased. They didn't, there wasn't any preference at all when they gave this test. They asked both of these groups what they would like to do in their career. And they didn't give them any like background. They say, "Oh,
Mhm.
make sure you pick this or that." They didn't give them any instruction. They just laid out a list of different of jobs and careers. And I think that a lot of the careers were like STEM jobs, like science, technology,
Mhm.
engineering, mathematics. And then there was a subset of jobs like nursing, caretaking. I think it was like being a musician or something like that. There are a lot of like different types of jobs in there, and gave it to a bunch of men and a bunch of women. Like, what do you think happened? Naturally, the men typically picked all the STEM jobs, the science, the engineering, the technology, the mathematics. That's just what they're catered to. And the women,
Mhm.
unsurprisingly, all picked nursing or all picked like things that are more
Yeah.
caretaking, you know, um, like jobs like that. They're a lot less strenuous physically, and they're just more, you have to be more emotional and self-aware and social. It's not surprising that that happened. Like that's just what we're naturally designed to do, and there's nothing wrong with that. Is there
Yeah.
exceptions to the rule? Of course, there's exceptions, I think, to everything, but again, like exceptions don't make the rule. So
No.
there is a group of people. Maybe there is a woman that exists that she's really strong. She's like into
Yeah, like.
self-improvement and she can do all
Mhm.
these different things and she's smart and she can be, into engineering and all this stuff. That I'm sure that exists somewhere, but is that the majority of women? Like we have to be general and when we're talking
Mhm.
about these things, that's just not the case. So I think, yeah, I think to kind of summarize all of what we're saying, basically these roles are deemed and demonized because simply they just been working for so long. And if you don't have those, you kind of have chaos without that order, without having, design roles in society. Um, yeah, what's your take on that? Do you think that these roles are needed? Do you think these roles have been, I mean, obviously they've been
Oh,
around forever.
absolutely. Absolutely. Like the roles, like women, men and women are not different, right? I would say that in the classroom. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
But men and women are not different, not equal. No. You
Mm,
got your strengths, we got our strengths.
yeah.
Our strength naturally tends to lean to, building, getting stronger physically, mentally, whatever.
Hmm.
And your roles, you're, naturally inclines to like healing, spiritualism,
Yep.
love, care, stuff like that.
Yeah.
You got men who do that as well, but that's not the majority of men. And you got women
Right.
who work their asses off, but that's not the majority of women. I mean,
Hmm.
these days you could say it kind of is because it's all being flipped right now. Like these
Oh
days
yeah.
it's all flipped, man. Men are all focused on spiritualism and love and take care
Crystals,
and whatever.
astrology.
Oh, I'm a Gemini. Oh, girl, you should be with me. I'm a Gemini. Oh,
Yep.
you're Taurus. Oh, we compare. Like, oh. And then you got like women who are like grinding their asses off, working out, like, getting higher in the social ladder, whatever, working out.
Hmm.
So yeah, you see that flip, man. And that's not natural. That's not how it should work. But
Hmm.
society does it on purpose because when you now have a relationship, there's a man and a woman, it can't work out. It just it's not how it naturally works, so it won't work. That's why you got all the failed marriages, right? All that stuff. It's just not how it works. All right.
Yeah. No polarity.
Yeah, exactly. The polarity. Like most people are just like gender neutral. I don't know how to call it, but they're like not masculine, but not. You got women who are like in the middle. You got men who are not masculine. They're just like kind of feminine. They got a little bit of masculinity going on. So they're like in the middle. And then you got these
Mhm.
couples who are in the middle. And that's what we promote. That's how the world should work. And everybody should just be in the middle. And, gender equalism. And that's how it works. And, it
Mhm.
definitely wasn't, how it was 1,000 years ago and, worked for 1,000 years. No, that's the past. Doesn't matter. Just don't look at that.
Yeah.
That's how it now works. So people are like, yeah, just nodding their head like sheep. Like, I absolutely don't know how to say this quote in English, but I'll try and do my best. It kind of says like you got white sheep, like a so like the white sheep are scared of being eaten by the wolf, but eventually the carekeeper of the sheep eats them, and
Hmm.
that's exactly what happens also in society. I'll give you a beautiful example with COVID-19. So the sheep are the people, right? And the wolf is, oh, COVID-19 is gonna kill us all. And then the
Hmm.
government can just do whatever they want. Everybody's in their home and just taking their money, whatever. Society is just, they're just filling their pockets. They're doing whatever they want. The carekeeper, so to speak. And that's how it works, man. And everybody are just like white sheep nodding their head. You'll have a black sheep, so to speak, every now and then who like stands up and like, no, that's not how it should. But nobody listens, bro, because it's the
Hmm.
minority, right? It's
Yeah.
like you said, the exceptions don't overrule the rule. Is that how you said it?
More or
Exceptions
less,
don't.
yeah. Exceptions don't make the rule. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're the only one like standing up, like it's hard to do anything.
Yeah.
The carekeeper will shoot you down and just eat you up. Literally, like with Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate's a black sheep, man. Now he's in prison. Like that's literally how it works, man. Literally. So like,
That's funny.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
that's 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 true actually to a degree. Like
yeah.
it's hard to be the one who um stands up for what he believes in and fights
Mhm.
for the truth and for what's right. But I think that's what I try to promote that on my channel is, having a set of standards, having a set of beliefs, having a set of principles that you live by, and not being afraid to assert those. Not in a negative way, not in like an obnoxious way where you're saying, "Oh, you got to believe what I believe." Like you can let
No,
people free to believe what they want, but you have to
yeah.
be solid in what you stand for.
Mhm.
And I think to kind of bring it back to what we were talking about, the brainwashing or the stuff that you're influenced by on the news, on the media, if you're not very intentional with, oh, I believe this is how I choose to live my life, then you're going to be susceptible to everything that's happening, all the programming, all the conditioning that happens. You are going to fall to that because you're not
Yeah.
solid as a man. You don't have a base, so you're influenced very, very easily. And I try to say that is like be intentional because if you're not doing
Mhm.
it, if you're not programming yourself, somebody's programming you, and you
Oh,
you
I like that
you
one.
got to
I
be
like that one.
intentional.
Yeah. Thing is, there's a quote, and I don't know how to say it in English again, because that's not my main language, but
Mm.
it's like decide quick and change your mind slow. I don't know if it says anything like that quote, like
I think I know
make
what you mean.
decisions fast, but change your mind slow.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
most people are the other way around. They're like really slow and making decisions. Oh, should I do it?
yeah.
Oh, procrastinating. Oh, let me sit on my phone, watch reels for 2 hours. Oh no, I
Mm.
gotta do the dishes. Like they're procrastinating on dishes, bro.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and then you got other people. No, and then so they make decisions slow, but they change their mind instantly. Like, oh, the news told me that. Yeah, yeah, that's the new truth now because the news told me that. Oh, this person is self improvement. Like, man, if I'm saying stuff and it goes against your like thoughts, like
Mm.
think about it, but don't like immediately believe me. Like we're saying
Yeah.
this, but you don't have to immediately believe us. Like test it out, think about it, you know. And
Mm.
a wise man, he makes decisions fast. He's like, yeah, I gotta do work now. Up, I gotta do this, gotta do that. Oh, you said this, I'm gonna say that. He makes decisions fast, but he changes his mind slow. He talks. He also open to talk. Like people are not open to talk, man. Like
That's
when I'm
true.
like, yeah, like people are just so closed off because that's how society brainwashes them, in my opinion. And
Hmm.
like when I try to talk to them, I'm trying to open up, see how their mind works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, by talking, like I'm not like oppressing or this is what I believe and you're gonna believe this as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
I'm curious, man. Like how you do that? Like tell me more, you know? And they're just
Mm-hmm.
so gross up. They're like, nah, you're trying to change my mind. Let's not do that, you know. Um,
Yep.
so yeah, people are just yeah, and they change their mind so fast, man. Oh, the news told me that. Yeah, that's the new truth. That's the new truth.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately, yeah, they don't even have one thought about it. Just yeah, he said that. Yep, yep, that's new. Yep, that. See, and yeah, when I talk with someone and I'm like, wow, that's something completely opposite of me. I'm not like immediately. You're right. You're right. I won't say it immediately, but I
Yeah.
was like, oh yeah, interesting, man, interesting. All right, and I'll think
Mm-hmm.
about it. Oh yeah, he's right. But like that, and then I'll kind of think about it, and then you just change your mind slow and make decisions fast. Basically, that quote,
Mm.
and a lot
I
of
like
people
that.
do that opposite, and
Yeah.
yeah.
I like that. I like that a lot. And my mind pretty much works in a very similar way. Like if I disagree with somebody, and I'm trying to work on this. I'm not obviously good. I'm not great at it, but my initial reaction is to think, okay, well, you're wrong. Like obviously that's not right. But
I
then
mean, that's not
it's just how
biologically, right?
people are.
Yeah, it's biologically. You gotta work around it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just something that you have to kind of work towards. And I think, sitting with someone and talking to somebody that you don't agree with, it doesn't mean that they're your enemy. It doesn't mean that even that they're wrong necessarily. It's just a different point of view, of perspective. So if what you believe, if you're so convicted in what you believe, put a layer on that and say, okay, what are they saying? What do they have any value to what I already think? Does that make sense to me? And if it doesn't, it doesn't. But if it does, then maybe, sit and ponder about it. So like
Hmm.
there's a lot of problems I think with society, but I think the one thing that we can all do to really I think come together as a unit, as a people is to really talk about these things, have conversations, talk about things that we don't necessarily want to talk about,
Hmm.
have these conversations because we're not having them right now. And the reason that we are so like crazy about certain things is because everybody watches the news or everybody watches TV telling us what to think, telling us what to believe in. And instead of actually talking to people and be like, hey, is that actually true? Like, do you believe in that? We just assume that that's the way it is. And anybody else that doesn't believe that is the
Yeah.
problem. Like they're the real problem. So I think dialogue is a very, very undervalued thing in society, and we need to have more of it.
Hmm. Absolutely. Everybody should be doing podcasts together.
Dude, seriously, I advocate content for but even if I don't agree with you, like if
Yeah.
you want your voice to be heard, you want your perspective to be out there,
Yeah.
and you're okay with people challenging your point of view,
Mhm.
100%. Like
Yeah.
that's it's needed.
I love conversation where people just believe completely different than me. Like,
Yeah,
and in some way, like in the back of my head, I'm actually hoping
that
like
they
they
change your
win the
mind.
argument. Yeah, so I learn
Yeah,
and get better. So I
yeah,
improve. Like, yeah, tell me, bro. Yeah, that's a good point. Let me think. So and then I
yeah.
throw an argument. I'm like, say, can they argument it back? Oh, they did. Oh, they destroyed my argument.
Hmm.
Like, and some way, I'm hoping they like win. So I
Yeah,
improve, and get better as a person.
that's very
But
true.
yeah. Absolutely, man. Dialogue, everybody's just like closed off, in my opinion. You know, Nobody really has strong opinions. It's all based on what they saw on content. Like, truly
Mhm.
is, man.
It
Like, if
is.
you have a conversation, everybody's mind is made up the content they consume.
Absolutely. Hmm.
Like, the women are more in those like feminists. They watch all those things, so their mind's more occupied with that. So they use arguments they saw there,
Yeah,
while never having ever like taking a journal and like writing about it or just sitting on their bed and just thinking about it. They
that's
just,
true.
and then when someone, he says that, I remember that one reel where that woman said that argument. So I'm like, bruh,
So true.
you're not thinking for yourself, man. And the same with
Yeah.
like people in self improvement, like when you so the same thing, you see, he said it, so I'm gonna say it here as well. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's the thing, man.
That's 100%.
Gotta think about those things, but also it takes time and you gotta focus on purpose, put all your time in let's talk about purpose. You down for that? Talk a little bit about purpose as a man.
Yeah, man. We can get into that. we could probably end it on there soon because I do have another call in a little bit. But yeah, we could
Yeah, like
kind of touch on purpose
like
real
10 more
quick.
minutes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, also I'll have to hop off. Yeah, right.
I would say purpose is something I really talk about a lot on this channel. I think that's like the main thing I try to focus on is having guys focus on a purpose, focus on,
Mission.
a mission or something that they're trying to do.
Hmm.
And it doesn't have to be as grand as what I'm trying to do or like what a lot of these content creators are trying to do. It doesn't have to be like that. I think purpose is something that is very, unique to yourself. So if you've been dealing with depression, for example, for a long time, we're talking about depression earlier, and you've all of a sudden you're in a better spot, you feel better by yourself. Well, that could be your purpose, like telling people how to get out of depression, telling people how to improve their lives in that sense.
Mm,
So purpose to me is really just kind of whatever you've done in your life that you felt like you've overcame or you felt like you've um kind of really, you're a lot more educated on now and then giving back to the rest of the world and to impact the world, that could be a
mm,
purpose right there. So your purpose is really, it's always something you have. You just have to kind of find it or kind of like,
mhm,
at least open your eyes to, damn, maybe I should do this. Um, but it could be as simple as literally like if you've always been a out of shape person, been always been fat or something, like get in good shape
mhm,
and then help other people to do it. So like there's a lot of
mm,
layers to purpose, but I think it's simply just kind of doing what's in front of you and doing something that you feel called to do. Um
mm.
so yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I really like what you said, and especially like you're saying, you do your purpose now, and then eventually, like your core purpose is always like I think I want to argument with you if you don't agree on this, but I think it's just literally always to give back to other people, to the
Yeah.
world. It can be something for yourself, like your true. I'm talking your true purpose, right? Your core purpose. How
Hmm.
I believe purpose works is like you got your outer layers and like your inner layer, right? And there's like this core. Well, this is your core purpose, right? But you got
Hmm.
all these layers surrounding it, so you can't reach it yet. You got to do the outer layers of purpose first, and those can
Yeah.
be get in shape, get rich, improve your social skills, get confident, get bum bum bum, and now you got your core purpose. So, like, if you're feeling purposeless in life as a man, which is a horrible feeling, just think, what is the work I have to do now? What do I gotta do now? Like I'm
Hmm.
17. What do I have to do now? Shit, I gotta become successful. I gotta become, best shape of my life. I gotta do these things now. Just focus on now. And eventually
Hmm.
you'll get those layers peeled off. And eventually by keep doing what you have to do now, eventually you get to the core. And that's why, I don't know if you believe in a religion, but that's then why God put you on this earth, with a purpose, with a mission as a man. You gotta fulfill, and maybe something small, but the butterfly effect, right? Where something small can lead to something incredibly huge. Where like maybe this self-improvement channel, like imagine this never blows up. Like just imagine. So it stays a small thing relatively to speak, right?
Hmm.
But you inspired like a person, another man. You inspired him, and now he follows his purpose, and he gets like big, and he then like becomes like ultra successful, whatever, and he inspires millions of men around the world. But it started with you. So like you're the like the little butterfly that claps his wings, and he calls a tornado, like so to speak.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's like some way you can describe. But obviously, with your purpose, try to complete it, as best. Like self-improvement YouTuber like you, try and shoot for the moon, and if you
Hmm.
miss, you land among the stars, you know.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, purpose. That's it, man. You just gotta find your purpose now. But what's the work you need done now? Like just look at your life, and it's easy to find, to be honest. Like
Hmm.
if you're depressed and shit, man, fix your depression. If you're out
Yeah.
of shape and you're not happy with your body, become happy with your body, and just
Hmm.
do your layers, and eventually you get to the core, and then you do that, right?
Hmm. I agree with that, man. It's something that one of my mentors would say too is just do what's in front of you. Like literally just do what the simplest thing that you have to do right now. If that could be going to the gym, that could be working on a business that could be doing whatever, like work, advancing your career or something. There's something in front of you that you're not satisfied with. And whatever that is, make that your mission right now. Make that your objective to improve that area of your life. And I think what's interesting is like mission, objectives, goals, like that gives a guy um a sense of direction. And that gives a guy like hope, I think, because we were talking about
Yeah,
hope earlier. Like if
hope
you
is
don't
such a
have that,
strong thing.
you know,
Yeah,
to kind of bring it full circle, like to if you don't have that purpose, if you don't have those goals, then you're kind of just like floating along in life without any real sense of like meaning or sense of
yeah,
fulfillment at all. Because I was at a place one time where I didn't have this channel, I didn't have what I was doing, I didn't have any content, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and this is okay to bring it to back to masculine energy and feminine energy. If you guys have never read the book Way the Superior Man by David Deida, like absolutely fantastic book, one of my favorites. And that's one of the core things of masculine is that you need purpose. Like purpose and masculine is like peanut butter to jelly. Like you just need it. It just goes perfectly well together. So with a man who doesn't have purpose, you're almost not even fully quite in your masculine just yet because you don't have something that drives you. So it's like um that feeling of being competent in something and feeling like you're improving in something is going to give you a sense of meaning of fulfillment because you can have all the best relationships in the world. Like you could be really close with like, you know, family, friends, whoever. Those could be solid, but if you don't have like a personal goal or objective or something you're trying to do, you're not going to feel completely full as a man. You're just not. With women, it might be a little bit different. Like with the feminine,
absolutely, it is
you can
different.
you might not know what you want to do in your life as a woman or as a feminine person. You might not know, but if you have people around you that love you, that support you, that are there for
Yeah,
you,
the
that's
good
really all you
relation, right?
need. And you feel pretty complete. But
Hmm.
on the masculine point of view, I had that. Like I had a good family, people in my corner, all that stuff, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't have like a calling. And even though I had these great relationships, still didn't feel complete, still didn't feel
No,
full
I
because I
know.
didn't have that mission. So for a man, it's it's vitally important to have something that you're pursuing.
Absolutely, man. Well said. Well said. I like to add on to that that like, that's the feminine, right?
Yeah.
Talking, having good relationships, that's the feminine. Well, I won't say like the Sigma male who only grinds, obviously still love your family and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But the grind should always be the priority, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, well said, man. I like that. I like that little rant. That was good. That was strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, like purpose, man. And it can be hard to feel like that was a thing I truly struggled with, like for let's say like a year and a half. Um, like purpose, right? Like, what do I do, man? So yeah, I improved myself, but what else? Like, what is my purpose, right? And then I came, this idea, you got to do your different layers first. You gotta be
Mm.
kind of patient in some way. You gotta find right. Then I was depressed, had no discipline. All right, let me build my discipline and have some good mental health. All right, so I got that. What now? Oh, shit, well, I'm actually fucking poor, man. Like I'm almost out of school now. Like,
Mm.
oh man, I don't want to work no minimum wage job. Shit, like I can't live like that. So let me try. Shit, let me try social media. Let me try to inspire. And I was like, yeah, nah, that's not the thing.
Mm.
um, so now I'm like, all right, getting successful, gotta get successful. How do I do it? I'm like, all right, you gotta look at what you have, right? So, you know, everybody, when you grow up, I'm not gonna say everybody, but you all got like hobbies or strengths or something you're good at. And something I've done for years was martial arts. So I'm like, I can
Mm.
try and become a fighter, for money and try and make a living out of that. Because I don't want no normal ass job. I can't sit behind a PC for hours or talk to a boss about how I'm not cooking my burgers good. Like, I don't want to do that, bro. I need something, definitely something physical. I can't sit behind a PC and do that stuff like that. Nah, I
Mm.
tried it, it doesn't work. So definitely like, so I'm like, all right. what do I have? And the only really thing I have is like, my martial arts. So I'm like, I give a shot at that. And now I'm like full on, like, bro, train
Hmm.
every day. Bro, if I have the time, multiple workouts, 2, 3 workouts, just sleep between workouts. So, I'm resting and work out. Like I'm fucking going hardcore for this shit, man. Because what else is the point, right?
Yeah.
I could be going to parties. I could be, playing video. I could still do my bodybuilding and go to parties and shit. I had a little, degenerate period, I'll call it, where I did do that. I think
Hmm.
every man has that, like, in some sense.
Yeah.
Where I just go to the parties, with the girls and stuff, and it's all fun and games, but it doesn't fulfill you.
No.
It, and the only true thing, like you said, that fulfills you, coming back to you, is purpose, man. Having a mission, a goal, an objective, achieving something, leaving a footprint in the world, man. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
like, for example, Andrew Tate, like, he definitely left a big ass footprint on. He did his purpose, man. He left a big ass footprint. The
Hmm.
whole, bro, millions of young men are now inspired. And like, if Andrew Tate, for example, did not get so popular and didn't exist, maybe, the butterfly effect, man, some random kid wouldn't get rich, but he saw
True.
it and was like, oh yeah, I'll try this successful thing. And he has some insane discipline, maybe genetically just better at it, and he just, gets rich and whatever, and then inspires people to, I don't know, become more religious, and that's his purpose then, like,
Hmm.
so that's the thing, man. And the butterfly effect, and yeah, so just, find your purpose, and just do like you said, do what's in front of you. Like, what work is done? Like, what do I need in my life? Like, I'm almost done with school. Like, a couple more months and I'm out, and then I'm standing there, bro. So I gotta, become successful at something. And that's how then I looked at it. I was like, I started off to inspire, because I got some um experience in self-improvement and depression. So I was like, I can give that a shot. But then
Hmm.
I just didn't fit with me. It just, some things don't fit. Like, let's say, yeah, you gotta do it even though you don't feel like it. But bro, man, I was editing my videos and reels, bro. Man, I was getting a headache. I had like veins going all up my head. Like, I was frustrated at that show. I kept like
Yeah.
putting the wrong pieces. Cause, bro, I swear it's just
It's a lot
nothing for
to it.
me. Like, technology and stuff.
Hmm.
So I was like, what am I good at? I'm like, bro, I love martial arts. There's nothing I love more in the world than fighting. So I was like, I gotta do that. That's
Hmm.
so now I'm just working hard for the next 5 years. A lot of fights will be happening, and hopefully I'll climb the ranks in the martial art world, leave my footprint, champion of the world, whatever, champion of Europe, and then give a
Hmm.
speech to people, butterfly effect, and give a speech and be like, I improved my life. I came from a skinny kid who wanted to kill myself, and now I'm like, for example, the champion of Europe, and now I'm fucking inspiring, saying that speech, and some random kid is like, "What? This kid, he was depressed, and I'm depressed. I'm gonna try it as well." Butterfly effect, bam! This kid also gets onto self improvement. He becomes some engineer. Fucking, he makes a spaceship, whatever. He makes a fucking time machine, like, bro, butterfly effect, right? You don't know. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's why you gotta chase your purpose, man. And something, and sorry if I'm going a little bit on a rant, but Jordan Peterson said this. Like, if you're not living your potential, bro, you're just wasting your life, man. That you
Hmm.
should, like, you must do it for the butterfly effect, right? You must,
Right.
like, just like, not for yourself, but like for other people. Like, you must do it for the butterfly. You're just wasting potential, life, energy. Like, you have to. It's your, yeah, you must do it. Like, it's just, no, it's not like, oh, I can choose this lifestyle and I want to, but I don't really want. No, you must, bro. It's your purpose. You must do it. There's no way around it. You just must.
Hmm.
If you don't, God is gonna frown upon you, like Andrew Tate says it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That I yeah, that's really well said, dude. You said a lot of good things in there. In terms of like, yeah, like just you never know who that could affect. You never know how that's gonna kind of um carry on to the next person that you try to inspire or try to, somebody's always watching basically, to see that
Absolutely.
what you're doing, whether you're winning or you're not winning or you're failing. Like there's somebody watching and there's
God's always
somebody
watching.
who's taking, taking some
Yeah.
advice, taking some lesson from you. Um,
And the
And I
main
think
thing
that
is like God's
it's
always
important.
watching, man. Like God, bro. Like
Yeah,
fuck other people, right? Like God's watching, man. The
for sure.
biggest, high intelligent that there is, like He's watching upon you. Like don't make be a waste of space and time and life that He created. But yeah,
That's true.
continue.
Yeah, no, I mean you're 100% right. Um, I think what's important that you said is like at first you might not have known what it was, or you feel like that wasn't really the fit. Like obviously with Instagram and stuff, you had a little page going, kind of realized, nah, that's not really what I want to do. I think that that's important because a lot of guys will do something and maybe doesn't work out, and they're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna give up. I quit,
Yeah,
and they just stop and they assume, well, fuck, I'm just not made for this. But
yeah. They
I
just
think
give
that
up.
there is like a point where you have to be like, all right, well, that didn't work. What's next? Or what can I do
Mhm.
now? Because
Yeah.
there's plenty of things that I've done, before even I got really serious with this channel, I had like, I had another business, not even really a business, but like a little side thing where I was like, okay, maybe I could do photography. Maybe I could do cinema, like
Mhm.
videography, do that for people. I did it for a little bit. I was like, yeah, I'm not really feeling it. I did a little
Yeah.
bit of what else did I do? I did a little bit of like a digital marketing agency where I was trying to help other
Mhm.
businesses. I'm not quite there yet where I feel like I can fully dive into that. I'm like, maybe not right now. But
Mhm.
this channel, this brand was always something I kept coming back to. At some
And like
point,
you
I
love it, right? Like
always
you
would.
like working on
Yeah,
sophisticated stuff. And that's the
100%.
thing. And you know, Andrew Tate, he was just obsessed with becoming rich, right? He didn't want to do it with something he loved. He just like he was, I don't know if you know like some of his background, he did some
Yeah, a little bit.
marketing for like televisions and stuff. He did a lot of stuff
Mm.
like to try and become rich. He truly did a lot. And then he was just focused like what makes the most money. He got in the webcam industry and then, then there's where he made his millions, right?
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, like you can absolutely like, for example, the digital marketing agency, like if that was the like only way to become successful for you, so to speak, like, but you didn't like it, yeah, you could force yourself to do the work, do the work, hard work, especially when you don't feel like it. You could absolutely become rich with something you do not like to do.
yeah.
But you got to look at what you have. Like, I'll just say that for people who are like at my level, maybe you're 17 as well, whatever, and you're like thinking like, all right, I want some success as well, make some money, and you got to look at what you have, right? Like, what are you good at? Like, what is something you've done for years? Like, I'll not say like an expert, but you're pretty good at. You could become an expert. Like, that's where
Mm.
I'm at. I'm pretty good. I'm going to try and become an expert so I can get in the high league and make my money out that way and get successful, so to speak, that way.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, love what you said as well, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you have to just keep going, keep peeling back those layers until you really get to the core of what matters to you. I think purpose is like it's kind of a combination of a few different things. If you look at like a Venn diagram, I saw this somewhere at a presentation that I was at. It was talking about like goals and purpose and stuff like that. Purpose is essentially like you find something you're good at, something that makes money, and something that impacts others. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can find all three of those where you meet in the middle, you can get all three of those connected, and that's like a purpose. That's something you feel passionate about. It makes a lot of money. There's good potential there, and it impacts people in a positive way. If you could do all three of those, I mean, you're set, dude. Like that's like the trifecta. And I'm lucky enough to be in an industry where I
You
love
have
doing
all three.
this. I have passion around it. I have a lot of knowledge around it. It makes money, obviously. Like you can make a full-time living doing this stuff, and it clearly impacts other people. So if you can get all three of those in some
That
way,
could be.
I mean, yeah, man, like
Yeah.
that's truly it right there.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. Like, now I'm going for martial arts. You could say, how can it impact others? But, butterfly effect, man, maybe I'm just like going out one day after like 2 years of training and I'm going out and some random kid asked me, yo, what do you do, man? You got some muscles? Like, what do you do? So yeah, I'm a martial artist. And like the little kid gets inspired or whatever. And then like
You never
butterfly
know.
effect, this man becomes a millionaire. Like,
Yeah,
you just don't know.
you never know.
Um, so, and that way boxing kind of, martial arts kind of inspires others.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, mainly just doing something you love, man, and something you're passionate about, and something you're just good at. I mean, I know friends who are just like obsessed with money and they don't care. You know, that's good as well if you have that mindset. Like I know people with that mindset who just don't care, about doing something you love. I
Hmm.
know people who just like obsessed with the money. Like for example, Andrew Tate just obsessed with the money and how they do it doesn't matter. They just want the money. It's like, all
Hmm.
right, yeah, sure, do it that way. But
Hmm.
I think for me and you and maybe other people as well, it's easier. Not easier, but I mean, it is easier, isn't it? It is easier to do it with something you love and shit you
You
love
enjoy
doing,
it
and
more.
yeah,
I think
people
I
always
think
say
that
like,
there's
yeah, I think
there's a
that.
point where like there is a point where you have to do things you just don't want to do. Like I think
Yeah,
that's important for a man to go through. Like if you worked a 9 to 5 or you had a career that weren't in love with, but it made a lot of money, maybe you have to do that for the time being until you do what you really really want to do. Um, because there's always something. It might not even be a career. That's the thing that's interesting about purpose is like it doesn't have to be your career. Like you could work a job that you like, you're not in love with, but it creates you stability. But on the side, maybe you write music and you put that out. It doesn't make a lot of money, but it helps other people. Maybe it inspires people. Maybe it's just a way for you to get your feelings out there. That could be something that is a lot, can be really tied to your purpose. It doesn't have to be your career. A lot of cases it is, but I think that there's circumstances where you could do something as a field, not love it, but do something on the side that you do love, and that might not be like a financial source, but it creates meaning in your life. That could be something too potentially.
absolutely, man. I have thought about like not being a career option. I haven't
Hmm.
like thought about that. So thank you for bringing that up. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, man, that's interesting. Like your purpose doesn't have to be a career option. Um, like my friend, he said this the other day, and he was like, my little brother, I see him like playing video games, doing the bad habits. I'm scared he gets into porn. I'm like, bro, coach him, like get him off the video games, show him some Hamza videos, bro, like whatever.
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he started doing that. That was like kind of his purpose for that moment, right?
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, man, I like what you said, man, about like it doesn't have to be a career, but it's also it's like that's the nicest way to have it, right? If it would be a
Sure.
career, if it's like something you love and it's a
Yeah.
career, like, but if it's not, try and make it. But if you can't,
Yeah.
like that.
Well,
But yeah, man.
I say that because I have a friend of mine who he's in a career right now that makes a lot of money. He's making a good living. He lives by himself. But he doesn't necessarily want to do that for his entire life. Like he's not in love with the field that he's in, but I mean, he might not say this himself, but in my perspective, like his purpose, he doesn't really clearly know that that's his career. Like in my opinion, I think his purpose could be, to serve his family, to get them out of debt, to help them out with the income that he has now from his job. So in that sense, he's a very fulfilled guy, but he doesn't necessarily look at his career as like this is what I'm like put on earth here to do. I think for him, in his case, like he's more or less a good people person. He knows how to connect to people. He knows how to, be social, make them feel comfortable. He cares a lot about the people that are close to him. That in essence could be part of his purpose. Even though his job makes money, he doesn't feel like incredibly connected to it. So it's just an interesting perspective. I've met some people that are like that. There's not many, but I just feel like not to not to limit yourself on what purpose could be, because I think it could be a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. And to go back, like loving your purpose. Now, man, you won't love your purpose 24/7. Like you'll have days
Yeah,
when you do
for
not
sure.
want to work. Like when I have to do my third workout, bro, and my chins are hurting, I'm sore all over, bro. I don't want to go on the heavy bag for another like
Yeah.
hour, 30 minutes. I
Yep.
don't I don't want to go for a run. I don't want to take that ice cold bath for recovery. I don't want to do it.
Hmm.
You just gotta do it. Just remind yourself, yeah, I'm a man. I gotta do it. Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna pussy up. Just do it.
Yeah,
Right? So yeah, man. You don't necessarily have to love it, but it has. Ah, doesn't have to make you fulfilled. I think it does, right? I mean, it will fulfill you. I'll say it like that. It doesn't have to make you fulfilled, but it will because, for example, your friend, he doesn't necessarily like his job, but it helps his family, and that's what makes his,
right.
make it his purpose, so to speak, as it fulfills him, right?
Hmm.
Because he's helping his family.
Right,
So yeah, you don't have to like purpose is not something maybe the younger people think this or whoever thinks this. Purpose isn't necessarily something you'll just like wake up and have a big ass smile every single day to do it. Like some days
right.
you won't have that big ass smile, man. You'll be like, fuck, I gotta do it. You'll even have days, bro, where you're just considering like, man, is this even my purpose? Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, bro, like, what am
Yeah,
I trying? Like me with my martial arts, sometimes I have days, bro, and I'm thinking, man, there are people who are like from their 6 years old till now, like training harder, like they've put in more work than me. And now I'm 17, I'm trying to go for it, bro. It's too late. Yeah, you
yeah,
got a couple of years in, martial arts. You got your 4 years, but there's some kid who has been training from his six. He has 10 years, bro. What you gonna do? That bitch boy. You can't win, bro. What are you trying?
mm,
But if there's any way I become successful, that's literally the only way, man. Because I'm shit at everything else, except like self improvement. But I can't edit for shit because I get so aggressive on it. I truly get aggressive, and I'm like on my phone with veins, looking in the mirror. I see all my veins and shit, my red fucking forehead. Fucking trying to edit the fucking video, but editing for the last 4 hours, still shit. Still have 10 minutes of more like video, whatever. You know,
yep.
so yeah, it wasn't for me. I learned that after, like a couple months, it's nothing for me.
Hmm.
Just gonna have to stick with what I did in the past and what I'm, the only thing I'm kind of good at, bro. Like, if you're young like me, you're looking for your purpose. I'll finish up by saying this. Um, and you're also looking for success. Just look what you got. If you have nothing, man, that's the best thing, the best case scenario. If you have
Yeah,
like, because people say, I didn't really do anything in my life, and I did not do martial arts, never did any music, never did this, never did that. I'm not really passionate about anything. I was like, that's the best case scenario, because now you can go, bro, you can still have fun now. You can still try this, try that,
yeah,
try an Instagram, try martial arts, try construction. I don't give a fuck. Like try
yeah.
everything, and see what just fulfills you the most,
Hmm.
and then do that right and become successful that way. And I mean, if it's your goal to be, maybe it's not even your goal as a man to become successful. Mine and yours maybe is as well. But like some men just wanna maybe help people or whatever, and not necessarily become rich, but just like help people and
Hmm.
people with problems. Like that's also like leaving your footprint on the earth and helping other
Right.
people. Purpose, right? Other people. It also always has an effect on other people in the world and stuff. So yeah, that's that, man. You wanna add something to that, or should we finish up?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think what you said is great. Like, people that are watching right now might not know what their purpose is, or maybe not feel clear with it,
Yeah,
not clear
find
with
out.
it.
Try stuff.
Like that's look at that as a blessing. So if you don't know,
Hmm.
man, like just take your life and orient that around trying to find what that
Yeah.
is, because then you're in a great position to kind of experiment, try different things out, like go study abroad or like take a trip or
Yeah.
figure out like what you really want to do. Try a couple different careers, try a lot of
Like.
different things out because eventually something's gonna stick. You're gonna find something you keep coming back to, and I think what is interesting is you'll notice that it is something you're supposed to do when you realize that if I'm not around this for quite a while, you start to miss it. And I remember
Hmm.
I had that for
Yeah.
myself. Like
Yeah.
there was a
Same.
point
Same, man.
where yeah, like there was a point where I didn't do this channel or this brand for a little bit. I think this like 2020 I think was a time I took like a big break. I was like 6 months. I just didn't post anything. I didn't do anything on social media, like nothing. And
Hmm.
there was a point where I was like sitting around and like I was still going to the gym and stuff, but I wasn't really making content. I just missed it. I was like, man, I got to say something. Like I want to put my stuff out there, and I'd always come back to it. So for whatever reason, this I just felt like this is always somehow connected to what I'm supposed to do, and um,
Yeah,
you just notice like
true, true,
you
man.
you do miss it when it's not there, and I think when you can recognize that, you may be onto something because this
Mm,
this might be something connected to what you're supposed to
yeah,
do.
I relate to that so heavily with martial arts, man. Like
Yeah.
I took a big break as well because my trainer, my sensei, he died,
Mm.
and I took like a big ass break, man, for like a year,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, a year, like 10 months. Man, those 10 months were horrible, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I came back, and I started slowly, one workout a week and two workout. And I'm like, what? Fucking martial arts, bro. I forgot.
Mm.
So I'm coming back to like, if you don't know what your purpose is, I like to say this as well to people. Your purpose can be finding your purpose. Maybe that's your
Yeah.
purpose. Find your
Yeah.
purpose. You always have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, your purpose is finding your purpose.
True.
Right? People with no purpose don't exist. Men with no purpose don't exist. Every man has a purpose, whatever,
Yep.
how small or big or whatever it is. Every man has a purpose.
True.
Facts.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. That's a I think it's a great way to end it, to be honest. It's a great
Yeah.
segue into the ending there because that's facts,
I
man.
like
You
it.
gotta
Yeah.
there's everybody got something. You just gotta kind of put in the work and be willing to do things and be willing to be uncomfortable for a little bit and
Mhm.
keep pushing because eventually something's gonna give and you're gonna find you're in a better position than you were. So yeah, man. Focusing on self-improvement is always a thing, and I'm always going to be promoting it here on this channel. Obviously, talking to people like Diego who've gone through his own personal journey, sharing my journey. So like, we're all here to help you out. We're all here to kind of guide you and point you in the right direction. So, I think that can really aid a lot of guys out there. So yeah, man, I just want to say thanks for hopping on, man. It's an awesome conversation. I think we really got a lot of things accomplished. We talked a lot about a lot of great topics, got deep into a lot of different things. But yeah, man, I'm just grateful that you can hop on and kind of share your time with us. Um, yeah, where can people find you if they want to see what you got going on, if you want to plug something that you got going on, you know?
Yeah, I'm off social media now, like
All
completely off. I don't unless it's with a purpose, like I said in the beginning. I
Sure,
don't want to have any social media.
that's fair.
So I was on to Inspire. I
Hmm.
was doing that, but I found out that's not what I want to do.
Sure.
It doesn't fit right. So sure, if you want to follow me, this is how I look like from behind because I won't be on social media. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't really have any social media.
yeah. I
I
mean,
just like
yeah,
to, yeah, that's just how I like to live. I like to cut it off and just focus completely on my martial arts.
nice.
Yeah, so yeah, that's how I like to live.
That's what's up, man. No, I mean, I can respect that for sure. So. Yeah, maybe if people want to see more of what you got going on, maybe I'll have you on a second time. Maybe we can do this
Yeah, sure,
again
we can do
sometime in the
that. Yeah,
future. Cool.
absolutely, we can do a second podcast, man. I'm down.
Me too. Me too. So yeah, guys, if you like the podcast, obviously give it a thumbs up. Comment your thoughts down below. You know where to find me. I have my coaching, all my services down in the description. I'll leave all that stuff down there. Yeah, make sure you subscribe if you're new to the channel, if you haven't seen me before. I got a lot of stuff like this coming out. I haven't been making a lot of YouTube videos, but I will be making those very, very soon. I just been really focused on like Instagram, TikTok, trying to get the short form stuff. So it is coming. Don't worry. I just been really focused on the podcast and other stuff, but yeah, we'll be back on the YouTube grind very, very shortly. But anyway, just wanted to say thank you again to Diego, man. It was an awesome conversation and I'd love to do this again sometime.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, guys. Peace.